Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to another Mystic Fitness Live Flow. My name is Kelly, and I will be providing you guys with an hour-long yoga class this morning. So if you want to go ahead and grab your mats, grab a water, grab a drink. I'm going to be starting shortly while I have you guys here. Just a quick reminder that we are posting to you every day live at 9 a.m. through Facebook as well as Instagram. And we are also, after class, archiving them onto our Facebook page, and then we're taking that extra step and putting them onto our YouTube channel as well. So our YouTube channel, we're trying to cultivate a bunch of content on there so that you guys can access this content without having to have a social media presence. And it is available for everyone. It doesn't cost any money. So go check out YouTube if you can, and if you feel moved to do so. If you also feel moved, we're doing a donation-based Venmo account for Mystic Fitness. And if you do feel inclined to donate and you are in a financial situation that you feel comfortable to do so, it is greatly appreciated. And you get a mask in return, a handmade, reusable face covering mask that has elastic for the ears, very comfortable to wear. And of course, these are items that we are going to be using for the next foreseeable couple months, I would imagine. So we want to make sure that we have masks so that you can go into the grocery store and all that good stuff. So let me know how the audio is. It doesn't seem like, oh, there's Pinal. All right. Thank you guys for saying good morning. I think Pinal's been here every single morning this week. I don't know. That's amazing. Good for you. It's the small little accomplishments, right? Just getting yourself to do an hour-long flow every day. I mean, that's amazing. So thank you guys. I don't know. I don't think I have any more announcements. I did just want to say that yesterday on my little drive home from the park, I saw a bunch of people standing out front of FSU with their picket signs, Black Lives Matter and all that stuff. And I just wanted to, and of course, people were honking and showing their support. And I just wanted to say thank you for all of the people that are out there doing what they believe is just. And as much as I want everybody to be safe, I understand that we're all going to handle this in different ways. So my way of protesting, if you will, is coming on here and providing you guys with a peaceful little section of social media where we can come together, flow together, kind of calm our energies at the beginning and end of our class, and use movement to kind of show love to our community. So thank you to everyone who's doing their part in their own individual way. We're all dealing with things differently, and that's kind of what I touched upon in yesterday's meditation, that everybody feels the wind differently. So some people need stillness to let that wind come when it comes. Some people need to run and let that wind come to them. So thank you guys to everybody showing their own individual ways of support. So let's go ahead and get started. So I have Mirari here this morning. She's going to be your main point of visual for our flow this morning. But of course, I like to get my movement in too, so I'm going to pop on my mat and do some movement as well. So let's go ahead and come into a seated position, or if you like to lay down, whatever feels good. We're going to come into our breath. Take a deep inhale and exhale. Again, in and out. Now that our physical body has arrived on our mats, it's time for our emotional and mental bodies to make their way here as well. Oftentimes I think of my energy as like a pot of water. And at the beginning of class, when I first arrive, my energy is kind of at a boil. Everything's kind of moving fast. Thoughts are bubbling around. Then once I engage in stillness, take a couple deep breaths in and out. The boil might start to become more of a simmer with just a couple bubbles here and there. I think it's very important to honor wherever you're at. So there's some mornings I come in and I have a very clear idea of what I want to do with class, a clear idea of postures and what I want to say. Then there's some mornings I come in and I just really have no idea. I think this is a beautiful way of looking at how our energy shifts each day. And just meeting your authenticity with acceptance. Letting whatever needs to arise to feel welcome. Allowing the present moment to simply unfold in front of you. Taking a deep breath in and letting it go. And slowly starting to reawaken, so maybe wiggling the toes and fingers, rocking of the head from side to side. Any little wiggles that allow your physical body to kind of re-engage into the present moment. Eventually bringing your hands over your heart, finding yourself in a position where we can start the class with the sound of Om. Taking a moment to drop into your heart space, notice if an intention arises. And we'll prepare with a cleansing breath. Breathe in. Breathe out. And for Om, inhale. Om. Have a beautiful class, everyone. Inhale, circle sweep the arms, reach up. Then with the exhale, just gently drop those arms into goalposts and then just start to rotate through the wrists. And just creating some gentle movements here throughout the fingers, opening and closing the palms. Just kind of getting some movements here to prepare our wrists for a little bit of weight bearing. Giving them a nice good shake, just releasing any last lingering bits of tension. Beautiful. Inhale, let's reach the arms up again. And then with the exhale, I want you to pull the elbows towards the ribcage like you're pressing the shoulders towards one another. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, pull it down. So with the inhale, we're releasing that little bit of tension. Then with the exhale, we're using that bit of tension to stretch through the upper back, shoulders, and chest. Last one, inhale and exhale. Let's slowly start to transition into our table pose. Allow your body to arrive in a natural progression. Let the wrists stack below the shoulders, knees below the hips. Starting with some cat and cows. Inhale, dropping the chest, gazing forward. This is your cow pose. And with the exhale, curling and rounding through the spine, finding this angry cat pose. Really press the floor away. Inhale carries you back, open to that arching. And exhale to a curling. Keep this pattern moving here. Inhale and exhale. And these movements here, this first phase of our class is reminiscent of water. So we're flowing fluidly through each pose, connecting to our breath. Eventually you'll notice that this water, this fluidity wants to kind of become a little bit more expansive, maybe rocking the hips to one side, finding a nice big circle in this pelvic bowl. And perhaps these circles are more like semicircles towards the back of your mat, depending on how open you're feeling in the moment. We want our practice to be unfolding naturally to prevent any future injury, so we never want to force ourselves into any openings. This should be an enjoyable practice. So just let your body kind of coast. Eventually it will find its opposite direction. You can always drop down onto the forearms. And that's kind of the beauty of seeing two bodies move here. You can kind of see each body is moving in a different way, yet we're still engaging in the same practice. Eventually sinking those hips back, finding a quick child's pose, just relaxing yourself down. Arms can be in front or behind the body. Take a deep breath in and let it go. Again, in and out. Slowly returning back into your table pose, making sure the fingers are spread wide into the ground. Let's drop down onto the right forearm, and then we're just going to start to kind of rotate through that left leg. So you can keep a slight bend in the knee, and we're just kind of rolling that left leg in circles. Yeah, and we're using that left hand as a little bit of a kickstand to keep this side of the body lifted. Take that in the opposite direction, so we're really focusing on our hip flexors. We're also getting a little engagement through the glute, quad, and hamstring. Now from here, I want you to open up that left leg in a 90-degree angle. This is an inhale. With the exhale, lowering that leg to a hover so the knee barely goes towards the ground. Inhale, press it open, engage the core, and exhale, lower. 5 more here, in and out. 4. This kind of reminds me of a dog using a fire hydrant. 2. And 1. Coming back into your table pose, both hands to the ground. Rock the hips left to right for a moment. So in that pulsing motion, we're getting into a strong hip flexor. We're also engaging the outer edge of the glute muscle. So let's take that on the other side, this time dropping the left forearm to the ground. We'll start this process with those big circles through the right leg. So again, the knee can stay bent, or you can maybe extend the leg long a couple times. Just finding these nice big sweeping circles. Taking it in the opposite direction whenever you feel ready. And then we'll pulse in and out of that. So we're going to keep the leg in a 90 degree, open the right knee up to the right. Inhale, exhale, hover. In, out. 5, 4, 3, 2. This isn't easy, you guys. And 1. Landing back into a proper table pose, perhaps sinking back into a child's pose for a moment. Eventually, we're going to pick that chest up, sit back onto the heels, and just create some shoulder circles. So taking them in one direction, then the other. I really liked how Kelly Spencer did hers the other day, kind of alternating arms like you're doing a backstroke. And then do a front stroke. What would that be called? All right, beautiful. Eventually coming back into your table pose, shaking the head, yes and no. Let's activate our core a little bit more here. So we're going to tuck the toes under and lift the knees to just a hover for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower back down. Smack the shoelace sides of the feet to the ground. So when we tuck the toes under and lift the knees to just a hover, we're engaging through the pelvic bowl. So let's do that again. Those abdominals are going to stay nice and strong. And we'll add a little bit extra onto this one. So tuck the toes under, lift the knees to just a hover. Choose to stay here, or we're going to take some toe taps. So right toe steps back and back to center. Left toes to the back and back to center for 10, 9, 8, 7. Try to keep everything still except the legs. 3, or no, sorry. If we want 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Release back down. Come up onto the heels. Shake those wrists out. I guess I got a little excited on that one for it to be over. Coming back into your table pose, and let's find our downward facing dog by tucking the toes under, lifts, hips pull up and back. Start to walk your dog out, pedal the feet, bending one knee at a time, dropping one heel to the ground and then the opposite heel. Just taking some gentle movements through the hamstrings. We're still in the water phase of our class. We want to make sure that we're still being a little fluid with our movements. Don't forget about those shoulders. Roll them down and away from the ears like you're a little turtle poking its head out of its shell. Inhale, bend the knees, gaze forward, and exhale, walk or hop to the front of your mat, forward fold. Keep a deep bend in the knees. We're going to be here for a couple breaths in this forward fold, shaking the head, yes and no, grabbing onto opposite elbow perhaps if that calls to you. A gentle swaying side to side in that ragdoll pose. Whatever you're truly feeling is resonating with you here, but definitely make sure you give that head a couple shakes in both directions. Our neck is working so hard to keep this head lifted all day long. Let's go ahead and give it a break. Inhale to a halfway lift. Take those fingertips towards the shin. Lengthen your crown. And exhale, fold. Let's find one more halfway lift. Inhale, slightly rise. And exhale, fold. Inhale, press into the feet. Circle, sweep the arms. Reach up one vertebra at a time. And exhale, hands to heart. Grounding down here. Breathe in. Breathe out. We're going to get these legs a little bit more activated here, so make sure the feet are hip distance apart. Inhale, arms circle, sweep up. And with the exhale, sitting down into your chair. Inhale, rise, reach the arms up. Exhale, sit. Inhale, rise, squeeze the glutes. Exhale, sit, sink those hips back. Inhale, rise. Maybe you come up onto the tippy toes this time. And exhale, sit. Inhale, rise. Maybe tippy toes, very challenging. Exhale, sit. For 5, 4, feel that blood flow through the legs. 3, 2, keep that focus. It's like wearing high heels. And 1, sit into your chair pose here for 5. Take that pelvis and tuck it under. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Forward fold. Hallelujah. Shake the head, yes and no. Relax for a moment here. Inhale, rise to a halfway lift. And exhale, hands plant, stepping back to your plank pose. In your plank pose, this is a very foundational pose of yoga. We want to make sure that everything is engaged here. So press the heels to the back of the room so that you're engaging through the legs. Chest is gently kind of pulling forward. Keep that gaze about a foot in front of the fingertips. Inhale. With the exhale, lower the knees to the ground. We're going to find a version of chaturanga as we slowly lower the chest all the way to the ground. Inhale, peel the chest up, keep the chin tucked, shoulder blades pull towards one another, low cobra. And exhale, release. Making your way back to your table pose, and then finding your downward facing dog. So that's the first version of your chaturanga flow. It's a little bit more supported, but definitely still strengthening. So depending on where you are in your practice, that's going to be your flow this morning. Inhale, bend the knees, gaze forward. Exhale, walk or hop to the front of your mat, forward fold. Inhale is your halfway lift, and exhale, fold. Inhale, arms circle, sweep up, press through the feet, fingertips reach. Exhale, hands to heart, ground for one breath. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, arm circle, sweep up. Exhale, hinge from the hips, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Hands plant, step it back to your plank pose. Choosing to keep those knees lifted or lower them with your inhale. Exhale, slowly lower halfway, or if those knees are on the ground, find that full lower. Find a low cobra or an upward facing dog. So in your upward facing dog, the glutes and thighs are engaged to keep them off of the ground. Inhale and exhale. Pull the hips up and back. Downward facing dog. So those chaturangas move pretty fast throughout our class. So if you guys ever need a breakdown of it, there is an archived video on our YouTube page and Facebook page. And I did a quick little breakdown of those chaturangas. Inhale, right leg reaches up to the sky. With the exhale, let's bend the knee, open up the hip for a moment here. So we're dropping that right heel over towards the left side of the room. Right knee points to the sky. Inhale, kick that right leg back, square the hips. With the exhale, pull the knee in towards the chest. Inhale, right leg reaches up and back. Exhale, right knee to right elbow. So we're picking it up towards right elbow. Inhale, reach it back up. Exhale, pull right knee towards left elbow, and then kick that right leg through. Open up to a side plank. Beautiful. So we're taking that left arm up. It's kind of like a wild thing if you guys are familiar with that pose. Press those hips up. Now this is where it gets a little funky. We're going to bring that left hand back to the ground and step right foot for a runner's lunge. Nicely done. Beautiful control. That's not easy stuff, especially when you're cueing on a microphone. Let's go ahead and find a runner's lunge hover. So we're picking the chest up. Pull those arms back with the palms facing down. Now I'm taking a page out of Amy's book here. One of her favorite poses is that thunderbolt. So we're going to reach the left arm up in front of the head, and we're still keeping that right arm towards the back of the room. So you're getting this contrast of the left hand reaching forward and right arm pulling back. Breathe in and out. Now from here, I want you to start to take the left fingertips and reach down towards the right foot. Maybe it touches. Inhale, reach it back up. Exhale, drop right fingertips towards the right foot. Inhale, reach it back up. Last two. Beautiful. Hold in that hover. 3, 2, 1. Dial the left heel down. Open up, warrior 2. Give yourself a break for a moment. Just bend and extend through that right leg a couple times. We did put a lot of pressure on that right leg, so it might feel good to just lengthen through the knee once or twice. Yeah, kind of bounce in and out of it. And then eventually, we're going to find the best warrior 2 that we've ever found, right? Each pose, we're finding it for the very first time, pretending like we've never taken it before. So those right toes face forward. We have a bend in the right knee, but we're tracking with the ankle here. With the inhale, we're going to extend right leg, bring the fingertips to touch overhead. And then with the exhale, take the hands behind the head and open them up. So it kind of makes it look a little fancier. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, open it up. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold in your warrior two. Press firmly into that right foot and back edge of left foot. Flip right palm. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Stay for the exhale. Make sure you keep that bend through right knee. So it's very common when we reverse our warrior to want to lengthen that right knee. Beautiful. Inhale. And with the exhale, cartwheel hands down back to your runner's lunge. Hands plant, right foot steps back to meet left. Now we're back in that plank pose, our favorite yoga pose, right? Breathe in. With the exhale, find your chaturanga. Inhale, up dog or low cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe in and breathe out. So I told you guys at the beginning of class, sometimes I don't even know what direction I'm going in, and that's just, being authentically honest. But Mirari definitely doesn't know where we're going. So just a reminder there, we're definitely taking this class as if this is the first time we've ever taken it. No rehearsal. Inhale, left leg to the sky. With the exhale, bend and open up the hip by dropping the left heel over towards right. So that word, authenticity or authentic, has been ringing in my head a lot lately with these virtual classes. Let's lengthen left leg up, square the hips. Inhale. Exhale, pull the knee towards the chest. Inhale, kick left leg up and back. Exhale, left knee towards left elbow. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, let's bring that left knee towards right elbow. You guys know where we're going. We're kicking that left leg through, reaching the right fingertips up to the sky for this funky side plank. Some teachers call this a wild thing. Breathe in, press those hips up. Now stay with me. Start to bring the right hand back to the ground. Pick left knee up and drop left foot over towards left thumb. Runner's lunge. Feet are hip distance apart. Now we're going to engage by pulling the chest up, arms reach back, runner's lunge, hover. Pull that right arm forward, left arm back, thunderbolt position. Inhale, exhale. Right fingertips start to drop down towards left toes, and then reach back up. 5, 4. So sometimes inviting these very subtle movements have a very profound difference. Here's 3, 2, 1. Find that thunderbolt. Breathe in. With the exhale, open it up, warrior two. So we're dialing the right heel down this time. Find that warrior, bounce into it. You might bend and extend through that left leg a couple times to find the best location for your body. All right. Now that we are in that warrior two, it's time to break it down. So open those arms up into a T. Press. There's a little bit of contrast, right? So that left foot is pressing energy forward, whereas that back right foot is pressing energy backwards. Inhale, lengthen left leg. Bring the fingertips to touch overhead. Exhale, hands come behind the head and open back, warrior two. Inhale, extend. Exhale, warrior. Try to make sure those hips are staying stacked below shoulders even throughout this movement. 3, 2, and 1. Holding in your warrior two, flipping left palm, inhale, reverse, stay here for the exhale. Make sure that we didn't lose that bend through left knee, and relax the left shoulder away from the ear. Breathe in. Your exhale, cartwheel hands down to your runner's lunge. Hands plant, left foot steps back to meet right, plank pose. This is our favorite pose, you guys. Aren't you so excited to be here? Take 2 breaths. Stay for the inhale. Prepare for your chaturanga. Exhale, let it go. Open up that chest And exhale, downward facing dog. So here's your opportunity to take a quick break for a drink of water. I'm sure Mirari could use one for doing all of that hard work. I'm sure you guys at home are feeling just about the same way. And I did want to say hi to Marty. I did see you comment, and I wanted to acknowledge you. Thank you for commenting, Marty. So how does your bodies feel right now? Are you warmed up? You feel engaged? Those plank poses are just our best friend. When you return onto your mat, let's find that downward facing dog. We'll take 3 breaths here to just let everybody else arrive with us. And throughout class, I want you guys to know that you have as much freedom as you like on your mats. So even if you're not even following with what we're doing, you're still a part of this practice. You're still a part of our community. Any extra added little wiggles are so welcome. Just make sure that you are listening to your body. And of course, if you've never done yoga practice before, it's always a good idea to communicate that with your doctor or your physician. Beautiful. Inhale, right leg reaches up to the sky. Exhale, pull the knee in towards the chest. Inhale, re-extend right leg up to the sky, and then we're going to open that hip once again. Now this one's for you, Marty, my 3-leg, my flip dog girl. Choose to stay here, or maybe you want to find your flip dog. In that case, we're going to start to bend through left knee so that we can drop the right toes towards the right. Press those hips up towards the sky. I like to bring my right fingertips up as well. So we're pressing upwards. Let your heart shine to the sky. Now the dismount out of this pose, we're going to bend through the knees, drop the tush towards the ground. This is like a little spring. And then with the exhale, right hand plants, right leg reaches up and back. We're back to that beautiful 3-leg dog for the inhale. Exhale, right knee pulls to chest. Step to your runner's lunge. From your runner's lunge, pick yourselves up to your crescent lunge, hands to heart. Beautiful. We're going to pulse in and out of some balancing postures. So with the inhale, we're bringing left knee up towards the chest. Exhale, kick that left leg out. Pull it back in and then step back to your crescent lunge. Beautiful. Inhale, left knee to chest. Exhale, give it a good cook. And step back, crescent lunge. Inhale, left knee to chest. Kick and step. Last 2. Kick and return. And 1. Pull that left knee in towards the chest. Kick it out, press it back, and find a warrior 3. So we're extending that left foot towards the back, but we're keeping it lifted. Foot is flexed. Now, if you like, you might decide to pull those hands behind you. Put the palms to the ground. Spread the fingers wide. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Landing in our pyramid pose. So we're coming kind of like towards a crescent lunge, but this time both feet are on the ground and both heels are on the ground as well. Make sure the feet are hip distance apart. I like to start this posture by bringing my hands to my hips and just kind of rotating left hip a couple times over to the right. So I'm trying to square my hips here. Now I have that location where my hips are square to the front. Inhale, open up your chest. Exhale, hinge slowly and controlled forward. Hands to blocks, or maybe hands can come to the ground. So I want you to keep a micro bend, especially through that front right leg. This is your pyramid posture. So from here, I like to imagine that my right hip is kind of pressing back as my left hip is kind of pulling forward so that I can square those hips. Very important in these yoga classes to make sure we have the proper hip placement. We want to make sure that we're doing all that we can to prevent any sort of future injuries. Slowly starting to walk the fingertips forward. We're going to find a standing split. So go ahead and reach the left leg to the sky. Keep the foot flexed and try to keep the left toes pointing towards the earth. That way you're not opening up your hip. but we're finding that nice deep stretch through the hamstring. Now this can also be a balanced pose. You might start to kind of pick the chest up slightly and bring the fingertips towards the shin. The next level of this pose is maybe bringing hands to heart. Last inhale. With the exhale, here we go. Let's pull the left knee back towards the chest. Stand all the way back up. And exhale, release. Beautiful. Shake out the legs, shake out the wrists. We're going to take a quick little detour here. So this time we're going to place the weight into the left foot. Inhale, arms sweep up. Exhale, hands to heart as we take that right knee towards the chest and cross the ankle over left thigh. So this is your figure 4 pose. This is a beautiful place to stay. You might also consider slowly starting to sink the hips back, finding a little chair pose. This should feel really good now that we did all of that balancing and working on that strength of the right leg. Now we're using that opening through the right hip. I personally like to take my right hand towards right knee and left hand towards foot and kind of press down a little bit to get a contrast here. Here's your last breath. With the exhale, we're going to come up nice and slowly and controlled and release down. Both feet plant. Inhale, arms circle, sweep up. Exhale, hinge from the hips, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands plant, step or hop to your plank pose. Our favorite pose. Breathe in. Breathe out. Last inhale. Exhale is your strong chaturanga. Upward facing dog or low cobra, and exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe in, breathe out. Inhale, left leg reaches up to the sky. Exhale, curl the knee in towards the chest. Inhale, left leg reaches up and back. Pause here. Open up your hip by bending the knee, dropping left heel over towards the right. Or we're going to take our Marty's favorite movement, which is her flip dog, by bending through that right knee, letting the left toes and foot reach the ground. Left arm reaches up to the sky as you press those hips up. Maybe the left arm goes up overhead like Mirari there. Now to dismount out of this pose, we need to bend the knees so that we create this little spring of energy. Then we take the left hand, plant it down. Our left leg reaches back up. This is your inhale. Exhale, knee to chest, step to your runner's lunge. Once you've made sure the feet are in the correct placement, being hip distance apart, bring your hands to your heart and pull up crescent lunge. Beautiful. Make sure you feel nice and sturdy. We're going to pulse in and out of those movements here. So with the inhale, right knee to chest. Exhale, give it a good kick. And step it back, crescent lunge. Inhale, right knee to chest. Kick. And return. Inhale, knee to chest. Kick. And return. Here's 2 more. Last full one. So we're going to go for the kick. Go back to the crescent lunge. This time, pull the knee to the chest. Give it a kick. And find warrior 3. So the right foot pulls back. Foot is flexed. Keep a bend through that left knee. Try to keep the hips stacked. So notice if that right hip is kind of opening up to the right, dial it down to the ground. Maybe those arms reach back with the palms facing down. That's an external rotation through your shoulders. Peel that chest open. Here's your last breath. Exhale, pyramid pose. So the right foot lands towards the back of your mat. Again, this is one of those postures that's almost like a lunge, but instead, both feet are grounded, and there's only a micro bend through the knees. Put your hands at your hips. Maybe rotate that right hip towards the left a couple times to square the hips. Then find that location where hips are square to the front of your room. Inhale, opens up the chest. Exhale, hinging forward, finding your pyramid pose. Hands to blocks or maybe to the ground.
And this is a little bit more of a relaxing posture, so remove any tension from the shoulders and neck, shaking of the head, yes and no. The only little bit of engagement and tension is that feet pressing into the earth, that left hip kind of pressing back as right hip pulls forward with micro bend through your knees. This squares your hips. Walking the fingertips forward, finding a standing split by reaching the right foot up off the ground. Keep a flex through that right foot so that you ensure hips are towards the mat. Maybe you start to balance by bringing the fingertips towards the shin and picking that chest up just a touch. Maybe even hands to heart. Here's your last breath. Now slowly and with control, start to bring that right knee up towards the chest. I know. And exhale, land, mountain pose, shake it out. And now we get to round this off with that beautiful hip opener on the left side. So weight starts to plant into the right foot. Inhale, fingertips reach up. Exhale, hands to heart as you take the left ankle and cross it over right thigh. Choosing to stay here or begin your journey sitting those hips back. So now you should be really accessing through that left hip flexor while also keeping engagement through right leg. I like to bring my palms down to my knee and foot and kind of press down, just a little gentle amount of pressing. Nothing too intense. Slowly and with control, start to lift back up, land in your mountain pose. Nicely done. Shake it out. Grab a drink of water if you need. Now is our opportunity to hit the mat and get a couple core movements and those delicious stretches. Because it's been a little bit warmer these past few days, we want to make sure that we're drinking even more fluids than we were at the beginning of our class. So we want to make sure now that it is getting into the summer months that we're staying hydrated so that our practices can be healthy and successful. Let's flow to the ground together. Inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, hands to heart, hinge from the hips, forward folds. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold, hands plant, step it back to your plank pose. From your plank pose, we're going to tap our toes to the outsides of our mat. So we'll start with the right foot, bring it out to the right and back to center. Now left foot out to the left, back to center. Go a little faster. Toe taps here. Keep those shoulders and hips in the exact same location. This movement is stemming simply from the bottom half of your body for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, halfway there, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold your plank, drop onto the forearms. So we want to keep that blood flowing while we got it. You can always drop the knees to the ground, drop the pelvis, pull the chest forward. 10, 9, 8, press those forearms into the earth. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. A beautiful reward in that Sphinx pose. Drop the knees and hips to the ground. Keep the chin gently tucked. The neck is a natural extension of the spine. I like to imagine myself kind of using the grip of my forearms to kind of pull my abdominals open, almost like I'm a little slug. I'm kind of pulling myself forward across the room. That would be pretty crazy if I could do that. If I just started slugging across the floor. See you later, guys. Take another deep breath here. And eventually let yourself lower on the ground. Bring your hands underneath the head as a pillow, and then just windshield wiper feet from side to side a couple times. So after those plank poses, I am sweating. That was a good little capture of that energy. So it's always good to take a couple breaks throughout your class, but when you can, you really want to access and hold on to that prana and that energy there. Beautiful. Let your legs coast back to a halt. We're going to find 2 back strengtheners here, starting with a low cobra. So let's bring the hands to the right next to the chest. And rather than having the elbows splay out, we want the elbows to come as close to the body as possible. Engage the shoelace sides of the feet to the ground. Inhale, lift the chest for your low cobra. Now notice, if you keep that chin tucked, how comfortable your neck is. But if you try to gaze up, now you're crunching the back of your neck. So I want you to have that neck be a natural extension of the spine. Thighs and glutes are engaged here. We're not just using our upper body to keep us lifted. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, release. Bring one ear to the mat. If you like, you might decide to windshield wiper again. And then we're going to try something that I kind of discovered. I don't know if it's going to work, but hey, there's only one way to find out, right? So we're basically going to do jumping jacks, but we're going to do it on our bellies, if that makes sense. So we're going to start by putting the arms in front of us. Now, I don't want you to bring the palms together. I'd rather you keep them just shoulders apart. And then we're going to reach the arms and legs up off of the ground. Keep the chin tucked. So we're going to open the arms and legs to the side and then center. Open to the side, center. For 10, keep your gaze on the ground. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release, shake it off. Windshield wiper feet side to side. And then we're going to press ourselves up into a table pose. Take your time to get there. Take a couple cat and cows here. And then sit back onto the heels. Extend the legs forward. We're going to start by bringing the left knee in towards the chest and lengthening right leg down your mat. So this is great. You guys get to see two visuals, one from the side and one from the front, if it ever becomes confusing for you. So we're going to come into a seated twist. So we're going to take that left ankle and cross it over right thigh. Now this is destination number 1. You can stay here. It might also be in your practice to bend right knee and kind of place it towards the left side of your mat, the right foot towards the left side of your mat. So Mirari's going for that one. I will keep my leg extended just so you guys can see what we're accessing here. Beautiful. Keep that right hand on the left knee and thigh area. Reach the right arm up to the sky to lengthen. Left arm up to the sky. And then we're going to drop the left fingertips towards the lower back. This is your kickstand. So you're kind of using it to press your chest and spine long. Inhale is a lengthening. Exhale, twist. Gaze over left shoulder. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist. 3 more breaths. Slowly start to come back to center. Take that left foot and uncross it over right thigh. And then we're going to open up that left knee out to the left so that we're in this seated posture. The right foot might have to adjust a little bit out to the right. Now, some of us love forward folds, some of us don't. If you don't like forward folds, you're going to find a chest opener by bringing the pinkies or fingertips to the back and just kind of opening up your chest. If you do like to forward fold, you're going to turn your attention over towards the right toes and then slowly start to hinge forward with a flat back. Now, once you cannot go any more forward without curling your back, you can either choose to keep that nice long spine, or you can decide to start to round through the back and slowly hinge. Now we're accessing a little bit deeper of a hamstring stretch. We'll just be here for 2 more breaths. Slowly lifting yourself up. I'd like to take you guys through a seated pigeon. Now, you're going to decide pretty quickly if it's going to work for you or not. Here is a couple ways that you can kind of find modifications. So what I want you to do is I want you to take that right leg and cross it over left. So we're kind of trying to keep the knees stacked upon one another. Now they're either going to stack very easily, or you're going to look like you're more in a crisscross applesauce kind of position. So that's destination number 1. You might also choose to bring a block underneath the hips. That way you're sitting on something a little higher to keep you lifted. All right. Now, Karina, she was messaging me the other day about seated pigeons. So I know she doesn't have a chance to watch it at 9 a.m. But hey, Karina, hopefully you're having a good evening. I wanted to run you guys through a seated pigeon pose. Now, this is, either going to be very comfortable for you to sit here, or you might want to start to hinge forward. Another option here. So we're just kind of finding a curious movement here. Another option might be bringing your hands towards the ankle and kind of using that to lift your chest up. Now, another option might be taking the right ankle on top of left knee and right knee on top of left ankle, so that you're kind of in more of a seated position. So you'll see that my right ankle is stacked over left knee, and my shins are parallel to one another, and then my right knee is on top of left ankle. Some say this is more difficult, and some say this is less difficult. So that's the beauty of this practice. We're taking these couple minutes to just simply explore, right? No judgment, and you can learn something about yourself from here. Now, for me, this is a very comfortable position where I feel really open through the hip flexors. I even like to hinge forward here. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and lengthen both legs back down the mat. Give them a good shake. So maybe some of you really, really, really dug that variation of pigeon. Maybe some of you are going to choose to do something different next time, and that's totally okay. But let's start from the top. So keep left leg long, pull right knee in towards the chest. Get a nice good lengthening here. Crossing right ankle over left thigh, either choosing to stay here or going for the pose that Mirari got into by bending that left knee. Beautiful. Keeping the left leg attached to right leg, bringing the right fingertips towards the back of the right hip, using that as a kickstand to keep you lifted for the inhales. The exhales is a twisting and gazing over right shoulder. So again, inhale is a lengthening upwards. Exhale is a deepening of the twist. 2 more. Coming back to center, uncrossing right ankle, extending left leg if you did have it bent. Let's open up right knee out to the right, so we're in a seated half straddle pose. I don't know if I just made that up. All right, so again, you can stay with that chest opener, bringing the fingertips towards the lower back, or you can bring your sights over towards left toes and slowly creep yourself forward with a flat back. Now, I say start with the flat back so you can feel what that feels like. Know your threshold, and then if you like, you might round to get a little bit deeper into this pose. 2 short breaths here, but keep them nice and deep. Slowly starting to lift back up. We're going to find that double pigeon seated variation. So this time, the left leg is going to come up over right knee. So again, we're either trying to keep those knees stacked on top of one another, or you might be a little bit more open in a seated pose. Block underneath the tush is a great way to keep this a little bit more comfortable if you have tight hips. A couple variations here might be grabbing on to the ankles and just kind of using that to keep yourself nice and long and lifted. Some people really dig just kind of hinging forward and letting their weight kind of press on to the left thigh. Another variation might be letting that left ankle stack over right knee and left knee stack on top of right ankle, so that now the shins are on top of one another, parallel and towards the front of your mat. Yeah, so Mirari has a beautiful demonstration from the side. You guys can see that.
Now, this is a little bit more intense for some people. Some people swear that this is easier for you. So do whatever feels best. Keep that chest lifted. Or maybe you want to hinge a little bit more forward. So we're still accessing the hip flexors in these postures. We're just finding a little bit of a different way to do it. And don't worry, I won't be offended if this doesn't work for you. That's the beauty of pigeon. There's several ways to do it. Maybe I'll do a quick little demonstration on all the different ways to do pigeon. Wonderful. Slowly starting to come out of this pose and just lengthen the legs down your mat. Let's lay all the way down onto our backs. Find a nice full body stretch here. Reach the arms and legs apart from one another. And then bring the soles of the feet to the earth. You can give yourself a little squeeze in towards the chest first if you like that. Perhaps rocking from side to side a couple times. Beautiful. Now letting those feet stack to the ground. Walking the feet to the outer edges of your mat. Yeah, so feet to the ground, knees stack. Yep. And then walk the feet to the outer edges of the mat. Yeah, beautiful. To the opposite edges. Yes. No, you're good. You're good. You're good. It was all that beautiful plank poses. Gotcha. All right. So let's drop the knees left and right a couple times. Just kind of creating this process before twisting. So yeah, like I said, me and Mirari don't practice before this. I very rarely know what I'm going to do before I get onto the to the mat. So God bless. Eventually let those knees drop over towards the right, landing there. Perhaps you might stack that right ankle over left thigh if that feels nice. It's not necessary here. Arms can be wherever suits you best if you want to open them into a T. Gaze can be wherever feels best. I'm going to let it be up to you when you decide to take that to the other side. And these are our last postures here, so take your time. Eventually, the knees will drop over to the left. Perhaps the left ankle stacks over right thigh this time. When the body has had enough, take any last little movements or postures before entering your final resting pose. And just a quick heads up, I might be a minute or two late today, past 10. Make sure you do find some sort of final resting pose before tuning out and jumping into your daily routine. And I'd like to share another little scripture with you guys, the impulse to love. And the impulse of love, this excerpt is written by Chris Lube. If somebody were to cut me into 1,000 pieces, every piece of me would say that it loves. In a way, we are each confronted with the same dilemma. How to feel the pain of living without denying it, and without letting that pain define us. Ultimately, no matter the burden we are given, once whittled to the bone, we are faced with a never-ending choice: to become the wound or to heal. Perhaps the most difficult challenge of being wounded is not turning our deepest loving nature over to the life and way of the wound. And this touching statement affirms that the nature of the human spirit is irrepressible. Just as a vine or shrub, no matter how often it is cut back, it will keep growing to the light. The human heart, no matter how often it is cut, can reassert its impulse to love. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Taking a deep breath in and letting it go. Continue letting your breath move and expand as you reawaken your physical body, the toes and fingers. Taking the next 3 to 4 breaths to remain exactly as you are, or slowly bring yourself into your seated posture for the close of our practice together. When you arrive, bring your hands over heart or come into a prayer position with the palms together. I love this phrase, if you were to cut me into 1,000,000 pieces, each piece would say that it loved. I think what I'm taking from it is the fact that there's so much that can happen to you. There's going to be pain no matter what. We're not in control of that aspect.
But what we are in control of is the amount of love that we put into this universe. So even if I'm torn down or cut into a million pieces, what I have done is loved. And once we know that, no one can ever take that from you. So as we take this Om, I'd like to take our cleansing breath and really just fill our entire being with love. And as we Om, let that vibration just ring throughout this entire earth to all the souls that need that extra dose of love today. Let's begin. Inhale and exhale. Inhale the love. I truly honor and admire your presence throughout this class. And the love within me bows to the love within you. Namaste. Thank you guys all so much. I appreciate you staying a little bit past 10 o'clock. I really wanted to make sure that I hit everything. And I look forward to seeing you. Tomorrow morning we have Deba Mitra teaching her Barkin series. It's Friday, right? Yes, Friday. Yeah, so we hope to see you guys there. Take care and have a fabulous rest of your day. Thanks, Mirari.